Hello everyone. Today I'm setting out to answer one of the still most hotly debated topics in the Nerf community in regards to accuracy improvement devices. This topic is rifling, whether having a rifled muzzle brake attachment is better than a simple smoothbore muzzle brake at reducing grouping size and improving the dispersion of your shots. These devices only really become relevant past that, I would say, a minimum of 100 feet per second, where the darts have enough extra kinetic energy to allow us to impart a spin on it without greatly affecting its range. Traditionally, people who have experimented with this type of stuff have used the good old-fashioned way of shooting at some target at a fixed distance and then plotting where all the darts land or measuring where all the darts land by hand while changing whatever variable they are trying to measure. This method is extremely labor-intensive as well as prone to human error and bias, since almost every single part of this measurement process involves the human doing something. This generally means that sizes achieved with this method will generally be small, and the conclusions aren't as reliable. This method also does not capture the dart's trajectory during flight, which is also very useful evidence towards discerning whether or not a particular muzzle attachment is helpful. So in this video, I want to show you a method that I developed recently that allows fast, high-volume sampling of the entire dart trajectory with minimal human labor and chance for bias that solves these aforementioned problems. The general idea is that we have a blaster-mounted camera to record the trajectories, so relative to the camera, the direction that we aim is always the same, giving us a consistent vantage point from which to record these dart paths. Here's an example of what this generally looks like. From here, we want to be able to use an image recognition software that can pick up the dart in the video and plot its path in terms of pixel coordinates on the screen. The problem is, during the day, there is insufficient contrast between the dart and the background, in this case the sky that we're looking at, in order for it to be easily to pick out the dart from the background. To get around this problem, we use a setup like so, where we use a high-throw flashlight mounted directly underneath the barrel, and we film at night instead. This way, if we aim at the sky, the only thing that should be reflecting light back at us is the dart itself, making it the only illuminated object in the video. This allows the software to much more easily pick up the location of the dart. Another issue arises here if we wish to efficiently automate the plotting process. If we want to be able to take one single continuous recording of all the shots, say 10 or 20 in a single sample group, then we recognize that the part of the video that we're actually interested, where the darts are actually in flight, is only a very small fraction of the entire video, and it would take much longer if we were to try to process the entire video and look for darts and plot. So to get around this problem, we can actually look at the audio file for this video. From the audio file, we can actually see that every single time we fire from the plunger hitting the plunger tube, we get a spike in the audio signal. And by running a simple local maxima function to find these maximas, we can get the timestamp for every single location in time where we actually shot a dart. And then we can simply process the video for the frames that are a quarter second before and a quarter second after we hear the sound to be able to process the parts of the video that we're interested in. Using a simple brightness threshold, we can identify the dart in these frames now and plot their trajectories. Shown here, we have a total of 24 shots, first with 12 shots from the rifled barrel, and then we have 12 shots from the unrifled attachment. While this footage plays, I'm going to clarify some misconceptions about what rifling actually does in Nerf darts. With real bullets, spin stabilizes them through conservation of angular momentum. However, with foam darts, the physics is different. All foam darts are slightly bent in some direction, which without spin will cause them to curve towards a single direction during flight. This effect is much more pronounced with cone-shaped darts such as ACCs and sweet oranges than blunt ones like waffles or workers, since the blunt tip of waffles and workers actually dishes the air away from the foam body of the dart, meaning that their curvature has a less of an effect on the flight path of the dart. Thus, Because of this, darts with tapered tips like ACCs and sweet oranges will benefit from spin much more so than waffles or workers. What spinning the dart does is that it causes this tendency to curve towards a single direction relative to the dart to be averaged in all directions. So instead of traveling a trajectory that resembles a banana, the trajectory is much more that of a spiral helix. And when this helix is tight enough, it is essentially a straight line, which is the desired effect. Finally, at the end here, with all the data back in, we can plot all the trajectory points as a scatter plot. And from here, I think it becomes fairly obvious with a sample size of 24 that the rifled barrel does reduce the dispersion dramatically, giving us a much better grouping than we would otherwise have.
So this is the ported muzzle brake that is non-rifled that we used in this test. I just wanted to show everyone what it looked like in case there were any doubts. You can see that it is quite properly sized when we put a dart in it, and it hugs the dart very well without too much resistance.
And to show everyone that it is ported properly, we're going to be putting a Nerf dart in here, which should be visible. And I'm going to blow on the end of this, and you're going to see that the dart does not make it all the way out because of the ports.